Well, this is Joey Schneider from Fox 2 now, and I am on the line with Frank Bennett, who is the coach for Chaminade in the basketball program over there, who's also had some experience coaching Jayson Tatum, who is heading to the NBA Finals with the Boston Celtics. And Frank, what a moment for Jayson Tatum. Could you just tell me a little bit about, how you two crossed paths in the first place, if you knew each other a little bit even before he was in high school?
Yeah, so I mean, he was in our middle school, and I actually went to church with his grandmother, so we you knew of Jason obviously, and there were some connections there, but it's just been really awesome to see what he's doing right now, for not only the St. Louis community, but for basketball as a whole. He's really just pushing it forward.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I was just kind of want to get a sense of while he was in high school. Obviously you're coaching him, and you're seeing star performances like getting to the state championship and having 26 or having like multiple 20-point games and things along the lines of that. I'm just curious what made him such a dynamic and a great player for the Chaminade basketball programs. A few years back.
Yeah, there's plenty of things that makes him, the dynamic player that he is. I think one of the things that goes unnoticed just because he's been so consistent is the fact that when the lights turn on, he always performs. And that's one of the and when I say always performs, he operates at an extremely high clip. And so when you look at over the course of his career, when he was at Chaminade, I mean, countless 30-point games, a handful of 40 and 50-point games. I mean, he was just a terror for the opposition. But when you look at the way he played, he was doing it extremely efficiently, and doing it in a way that didn't isolate his teammates. He would look to get his teammates involved, and was still a consummate teammate, and a teammate in the sense of he's trying to win and trying to make sure other people are involved while doing what he does. And I just think that that's really impressive, and it also speaks to the character that he possesses.
Absolutely. And kind of speaking on that level too, were there any particular moments within like when you were able to practice him or within certain games or tournaments where you maybe first thought this guy's going to be a star, this guy has the goods to really have an impact on the game of basketball, make it to the NBA and represent it on the big stage?
Yeah, I mean his freshman year, obviously he was about 6'4", 6'5", and he was doing, he was a guard. And the things that he was doing with the ball in his hands was special. He was really good at getting to his spots. Shot the ball extremely well. Was crafty around the rim. Had some budding athleticism that was, just seemed to be increasing by the day. Um, but then when you look at that, and then his sophomore, junior, senior year, I mean, there just really was no one that can guard him. And it didn't matter if it was someone his size, with some strength, or a dynamic athlete that could crawl up under him. Like, you just really couldn't make him uncomfortable. And um, he was just always comfortable getting to his spots, and shooting shots that he practices on a daily basis. I think one of the most notable memories for me personally was it was one day during our practices. We were doing this continuous scrimmaging drill, and I think he scored 17 times in a row. And it was just one of those things where you're coaching, and you're constantly on your guys, and in the back of your mind, you really can't be mad at your guys, because like right in front of your face, you're watching an NBA All Star, um, you know, just take off. And so guys were playing good defense, hands in the face, trying to push him to whatever they thought his weakness was, and he would just score. And so that was really good. That was a fun memory. Another one was in the state tournament. He just, especially his senior year, he was just a different guy. I mean, he just possesses another level of focus that, when he's locked in, there's just, if you can match it. And so, um, he was a guy that really brought our guys together, and and just had him hone in on the goal, which is to win a state championship, and that's exactly what he did his senior year. I think in the first half of the state championship game, he had 27, and the opponent had 26. And if that's not locked in, I don't know what is. A few people don't realize that he was actually, along with a couple other people on our team, we all got sick, and it started hitting us in the second half. And him, Tyler, and Mikey, and a lot of our other guys just rose to the occasion, and brought it home. So there's plenty of stories. Those are just a few that come to my mind at the moment.
Absolutely. And, he's probably been out of the program for quite a few years now. Obviously, he's had college basketball and a few years in the NBA. But what kind of impact do you see right now that, even from the time that he's since left Chaminade to where he continues like have impact on the basketball program, or like what kind of things did he do to, maybe set up a little bit more of that culture that you all have there?
Yeah. So I think that if you dial it back to to Bradley Beal. Brad was a great student, great person, and an unbelievable worker. And so Brad would be at the gym at 5 a.m. Working on his craft, getting shots up, going through workouts, then go through a full day of school, and then during the season go through another practice, and then even sometimes after that practice, he would have another skills practice after that. And so you look at that, those are the things that Brad did. Then here comes Jayson. Jayson mirrors it. He does the same thing. And dare I say, even works, fills his time even more up with, fine tuning his craft. And so you look at that, this before school, after school mentality, that's something that, our guys don't even know that that's where it comes from. We have a culture of guys that, want to get shots up before school, and just do the extra. And a lot of that is attributed to the way Jayson took it and ran with it.
That's awesome. And, in between the time of there and then getting to college in the NBA, what have you seen from him that maybe he's just been able to like translate success? Like what's kind of worked so well with him in at both those levels, especially to get to where he's at now in the finals?
Yeah, I mean, he's a tremendous worker. He's somebody that playing in the league was plan A, and plan B was playing in the league. So it was fun to watch him pour all of his efforts, and obviously he has some God-given abilities and whatnot, but he's really maximized it all to get to where he's at, and he deserves it all. And I just think when you take a look at him being in the NBA finals, I just remember all those times at Chaminade when he was blood, sweat, tears, just focused on one day being where he's at right now. So as an old high school coach, it's just fun to sit back and be able to look and see everything come to fruition, to see him play. The Golden State Warriors here Thursday. And it's also fun to see some of the things that people said he couldn't do, be done at the highest level. One of the knocks was, could he defend? And now you look at it and it's like he's one of the best, two-way players in the league. And it's like we always knew he could guard. It's not a surprise to us. And then another thing was, well, how athletic is he? And you look at him now, and he's punched on Bam Adebayo, and Giannis, and he dunked one on LeBron James a few years ago, and you just look at these things, and it's like, man, just admit he's good. Stop trying to poke holes and try and find weaknesses that aren't there. He's the guy. And of course, us at Chaminade and us in the St. Louis area, we rally behind our own, and he's no different. We're 10 toes down with him, and we believe that he's going to be able to get it done and win an NBA championship, which is going to be awesome for St. Louis and the Chaminade communities.
Absolutely. And I guess I was going to kind of allude to that point next of like, on the big stage representing St. Louis, what do you think that personally means to him? And then maybe in the other sense too, to anyone in St. Louis who loves basketball or, wants to learn a little more about the game, like what kind of all does that mean in that sense?
Yeah, I mean, if anybody knows Jayson at all, that he's a diehard St. Louisan, and so, emos is a big deal, Chinese food, vests, red hot riplets, all these things that are staples in our community. He lives and breathes. And so with that being said, for a guy to ascend to the highest of levels in his profession, and to ascend to the highest ranks of a profession that so many kids idolize and want for themselves. It inspires people. Inspires people. Young kids that that were once the Jasons of the world. Gives them hope that they can accomplish the things that that he's accomplishing right before our eyes. And there's no better way to go about life, and it's except for trying to inspire other people to to accomplish great things, both personally and within their profession. And again, I'm the lucky one that gets to sit back and watch this story go from its early chapters to right now, where again he's on the brink of winning an NBA championship, which is cool, right? So he's just, he means so much to a lot of us, at Chaminade, and a lot of us in the St. Louis community, that we just can't wait to game one, tomorrow night, to get this W.
Absolutely. And thinking about, the NBA and like St. Louis's history and like players that St. Louis has produced like in the NBA as well. I did a little bit of research, and it looked like in the past that JoJo White for the Boston Celtics in the 70s, kind of a similar situation growing up and then playing there and then getting to the finals and then getting to the championship too. And I don't know. I mean, there's been a lot of other players who've come through St. Louis who have had success, obviously, like David Lee, Bradley Beal. But where do you feel like Tatum is with like all of the St. Louis products that have been able to came out and with this opportunity now, like how unique is it with the St. Louis connection and how the NBA is growing its footprint here a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, if you grew up playing basketball in St. Louis, we take a lot of pride in just that. And so when you look at all the guys that have been able to play at the next level, there's a ton of them, and there's no really pitting one against the other. I think at the end of the day, obviously Jayson is special. I personally think he's the greatest, to come out of the area. But I just think that, when you look at the way the story of St. Louis basketball has been written, there's been people that have come before to kind of show others the way. And, there's no exception in this regard. You like we alluded to earlier, you had, guys like Bradley Beal that then, showed a blueprint. You had guys before him like a David Lee, that found a way to get to that level. I think I got a guy that you look at now that some people might think is an old guy, but Larry Hughes had the city on fire as well, and he did it in a unique way by staying home, playing for the hometown team, and had a magical run at SLU before he went on to them to be an all-star in the NBA. So so we're just fortunate to have a lot of good basketball in this community, and a lot of NBA basketball players that have gone on to play at the highest ranks, and be successful. We've got, Lauren Woods, Jahadi White, Tyler Cook. Tyler Cook was a teammate of Jayson's, and there's just these guys that, just all these different guys that have gone on to the higher ranks. So when they get there, we rally behind them, and Jayson's no different. I think that he's, again, my personal opinion, I think he's the best to come out of the city, but that's also, a testimony to the city.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm kind of curious through like all of this journey, everything right now where Jayson's been at, how much have you been able to keep in touch with him throughout the playoffs, maybe into the season, and where he's at right now with his next opportunities?
Yeah, for sure. You definitely stay in touch with him. Texting him when he's back in town. He comes in the gym and works out, and we connect. But I think that that's a testimony to who Jayson is. He's a guy that has everything at his fingertips, and is still a grounded, down to earth guy that's will come by and talk to the current players. He came and watched one of our games this past season. That's just who he is as a person. That's who his family is. That's how his family is. They're extremely supportive. And so, we're grateful to still be in touch and be, just rooting for him. We're praying for him, and just sending words of encouragement whenever needed. And also I can finally do this without losing my mind. I can actually, yell at the refs a little bit when they're not doing their job. But that's all jokes and fun. But at the end of the day, he's just the same guy, man. I mean, he's hasn't changed one bit, and we're proud of him.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So obviously, the Eastern Conference Finals MVP, getting to that mark on Sunday with that victory that he got, and then it was a series that went 7 games. Rolling into this next round with some momentum, how confident are you in maybe the ability to get maybe for the Celtics to beat the Warriors, and then also for him to get that potential accolade and recognition as a Finals MVP as well? Do you feel like that is
Oh,
that?
yes, 100% right. Yeah, I mean, Golden State is very good. Enjoy watching them play. They've got Steph Curry, Clay Thompson, Draymond Green, Poole. They got a whole bunch of guys that are good. They've got a great coach. They're, rightfully they should be in the championship. But Boston defends. They've got Jason, they've got Jalen, they've got Marcus Smart, they've got Al Horford, they've got they can play big, they can play small, they can switch everything. They've got some length and athleticism and defensive minded guys that can pose some problems for Golden State, and then they can turn around and score on those guys too, which is going to be a problem on the other end. So yeah, can Boston get it done? 100% they can. 100% they can. And I know we've got some people that are naysayers and feel like Golden State it's a shoe-in. Man, I don't believe that for 1 second. Boston on top. Boston on top.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I didn't have too much more that I really wanted to ask you with all this, but I was kind of curious. You had mentioned a little bit earlier about how Jayson, obviously has a connection with Emo's Pizza and a couple other things in St. Louis. What kind of things have you seen that maybe he makes him like a true St. Louis, and that he loves these things, and maybe is a little bit more about his connection to Emo's Pizza as well?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's real simple. It's the everything from the food to the just St. Louis culture. We're real heavy on representing our city, so it's not foreign to watch him. Wear the St. Louis ball cap. It's not. If you look at one of the suitcases that he totes around from game to game, he's got the Chaminade jersey on there. He's got the Duke jersey on there, and he's got the Boston Celtics jersey on there. So there's a there's a natural tendency to not want to forget where you came from. One of his tattoos is actually the original house and the address where he came from. Which he came from just average modest upbringings. You know what I mean? So that's one of the things that makes him special, in the sense that he goes off and he has the world at his fingertips, but he doesn't forget where he's come from. And so that's just who he is. And it's not a surprise, and it's not anything new for us that know him.
Awesome. And then anything else that you think might be kind of interesting that obviously the average basketball fan sees him, and competing for a lot of these accolades and the championship too, but maybe just something that the average basketball fan might not know just by watching Tatum, that maybe you have observed from your days as being a coach, or watching him play games now, like anything interesting in that regard?
No, I mean, there's so many things that come to mind, but nothing in particular that would be earth shattering. A lot of them is just stories that you cherish, just from just like with any other player, just being around them every single day. Because that's a real reward, right? Just the journey itself, and with him, he was no different. So it was fun watching him again as a middle schooler in the Chaminade Middle School, doing projects, trying to show people how to tie a tie, which is a YouTube video that a lot of people still pass around, to being a guy that everybody's watching. Now he's on Ruffles commercials, and he's Gatorade commercials, and he's getting poised and positioned to be the face of the league. So yeah, it's all good. And I mean, I just think every story I think about, just dials back to the quality of person he is, and on the court and off the court.
Awesome. And then one last thing. So the series starts tomorrow. What is your prediction in the series? I don't even throw you on the spot like that, but
Oh,
what
it's I will stand on my opinion. I was arguing with some guys earlier today, so it's fresh for me. I don't want to disrespect Golden State at all, but I think Boston will win in 6. I think there's a chance that they win in 5 if they really come together, or not come together, but really if they shoot the ball well, and defend like they have been. It can be ugly, but and I might be a little biased. I know that, but at the end of the day, I'm still like that wall behind you. The green team's winning, man. They're bringing home they're bringing home number 18 to Boston, and I'm not even a Celtics fan until Jayson went there. So, but yeah, Boston's going to win it. Boston's going to win it.
Awesome. That's what I like to hear. And yep, the green wall, I felt like that was kind of a good inspiration for tonight too. And series going forward. So Coach Bennett, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time here. And yeah, it should be a fun series, and it should be awesome to see Jayson going forward and seeing what he can do here.
Absolutely.